We should jump right in. We start every show with our pet peeves. Do you want me to start, or do you got one? Do you want to go?
Well,
mine's kind of petty.
Well,
I guess what the pet peeve is.
It's in the name, guys.
Yeah. You know, mine's kind of petty, but it just fucking bothers the shit out of me. I'll start since I'm talking already.
Okay.
But
you go ahead.
You know what it is? This is for people who don't have dishwashers. People who probably live in apartments or don't have dishwashers and stuff. I absolutely hate, and you can probably tell who I'm talking about when I talk about this. When somebody washes their dishes and puts it on top of the dry dishes, instead of just taking 1 minute and putting away the couple dry dishes that are in the thing, that are in the dish holder. We don't have a dishwasher,
right?
So we wash our stuff and we put them in that little drainy thing that drains out into the sink.
Yeah,
there's never that much stuff in there, right?
Right.
And so, like, when you go to wash your next dishes, when you use some dishes and stuff, you should put away what's in the thing, and then put those dry dishes, the wet dishes, to drain out. But it kind of always happens that
the dry ones get wet.
Somebody, puts the wet dishes on top of all the dry dishes. Now all the fucking dishes are wet. You know, and like we usually sort of like live out of the actual little drain thing, right? Like you just take out what you need.
Yeah.
And you need a plate. You just grab it from there, use it, wash it, put it back. You know. But if you're cooking, or sometimes you have maybe a couple people over, or if like some people do, not me, but like some people use a dish, leave it in the sink, use another one, leave it in the sink, then go to work and come home with your Tupperware. Now you have a whole bunch of dishes to do.
See,
and there's dry dishes and thing, and then you wash it all and put them all. Man, that shit bothers the fuck out of me. And that's all I gotta say. Yo, guy, I get so fucking angry.
A little bit. I stopped
getting angry now, like, cause.
See,
what are you gonna do? Now you just gotta fucking.
I used to be like, yo, Mom, why do you every day? Why do you vacuum? Like, why do you do the dishes? And she used to say, you know why you do a little bit every day? So you don't have to do a lot of it later.
Right.
So you just finish what you have to do. And my rule of thumb is, wherever you are, keep it tidy. If you're doing something and then you clean up after yourself, you don't have to do a big cleanup.
Yeah, never. You'll never.
It's when you leave it.
Yeah.
And then do something else and then leave it, and then like a couple days later you have to clean
everything.
And then it's like, I learn a little bit every day.
I've been trying to teach my little one that.
Yeah.
And
it's hard.
It's not. It's actually it works okay, but there's two different styles that are happening in the household, right? Yeah. So there's two different examples that are happening, and you know, one example isn't as clean as the other example.
Right.
I'm the other example. You know, like, and they really you have to fight this fucking battle back and forth.
You know, this is how
again, it's part of life.
This is how I interpret it. It's like having a computer.
Yeah.
And there's a virus.
Yeah.
And every day you put the antivirus on and it works.
Yeah.
But the next day you gotta come do it again.
Do it again. Yeah.
And again.
Yeah. Instead of just getting rid of the
virus. And again.
Yeah.
Because the virus ain't going away.
Yeah.
So you gotta put in that.
So it's like herpes. It ain't going away. You got that shit for life. And that shit flares up every once in a while.
That was easy.
Sure.
But then
I agree.
Yeah, you get it.
Yes.
Anyhow, what's your pet peeve for the thing? Again, mine sounded very petty, but again.
Yeah, mine's petty too.
It's supposed to be.
So you know what my pet peeve is? When someone tries to ruin your day.
They're just
like seriously, they just try to. They disagree with you all the time. They're just that person that they get off by pissing off everybody around them. Do you know that?
Yep.
Do you know everybody like that?
I feel like we're both talking about the same people in our lives, but not the same person.
Well, could be.
We don't know. We ever said no names?
No. But
we're just saying.
I'm just saying, if you're having a bad day, the thing about it is, why are you trying to ruin someone else's day?
Yeah.
You know,
there are people that are just like that, though.
It's okay to have a bad day. But you know what?
What up, TikTok?
When I'm having a bad day, and don't get me wrong, sometimes
I don't
I'm in a bad mood. Okay.
I don't know if I ever even seen you have like a real bad day. Like I don't.
But no, but the thing
I don't
is,
know that, Jay.
when something bothers me,
Yeah.
instead of like taking it out on you,
Yeah.
I just
Drink.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean? I just push it aside. It's like, why am I going to get mad at you for something that doesn't involve
because then
you?
you're turning into the person that's trying to ruin somebody else's day
That's
too,
what
right?
I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I can't stand that person. So I'm never that person to be like, drop my problems on you.
Yeah.
You know? Hence, I might vent, but I don't complain.
Yeah.
That's the difference between...
No, a good venting session is good and it's needed, you know, amongst friends, like a good time, like let's just sit down, you know, let's just say before you turn the cameras on and you have a little vent session and bang. You fucking feel great all of a sudden. And then
Because you know what the difference between a venter and a complainer is?
What?
The complainer does nothing.
Yeah.
Ever. And the venter is just venting about what they have to do to fix the problem.
Yeah.
Crying out loud, I had to do all this work.
Yeah.
You know, and complainers are like, look at this problem.
Yeah. And then they talk about
this
talk
problem.
about the problem, and talk about the problem,
And
talk
just
about
keep
the problem,
looking.
and talk about the problem, and talk about the problem,
And do nothing.
and never does anything. Yeah.
So, that's
I
my
get
pet
it.
peeve.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know,
That's a really good one.
those people who try to ruin your day.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm a joyous sunshine.
He's a ray of sunshine.
So I want to stay that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yo, if you,
I like to smile.
You've known me for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Like, when have you ever caught me in any kind of fucking, like, real, like, a bad mood where you're just like, yo, I'm just gonna leave Dave alone today because, you know, like, that shit don't happen. You know,
because
with everything going on in life and all that stuff like
listen,
that, like, you know, like you never.
I don't know
gonna
about
catch me
you,
like that.
but my parents didn't have it too easy, and now that I'm in their position and had to see what they went through, like, I used to think my parents were mean.
Yeah. Oh, I remember you telling me this the other day. Yeah.
I don't think they're mean anymore. Because I realized how they had to deal with my strippiness.
Yeah.
Like, I was real stripping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can remember my dad always saying stuff, and I'm like, yo, this guy's mean.
Yeah.
But it's what I needed.
Yeah.
Because I was going on stripping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You were a dep-on for a little bit.
And he would just, my dad would never argue. He just straightened me.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
No.
Yo,
you know, one time, it was never fighting. We never fought. We never argued. Like, I argued with my mom.
Yeah.
And then she taught me.
Yeah.
But my dad...
What'd you say? What up?
He never let it get to an argument.
Yeah.
It's like right before he knew what would trigger it, and then he squashed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right before it happened, it's like, boom. And then you're just like, okay. But with my mom, like, you would be like, rah, rah, back and forth. And then, you know, you'd overstep your boundary and then,
yes. See, I grew up, I don't know. I think my mom was more of the disciplinarian. My mom was more around, let's say.
Right.
And there was no arguing. Like, she wasn't the argue type. She was the my dad is quiet. He's a quieter person, but when he said something, you're like, yo, shit, okay, I better do that shit because, you know, just and because he's not a big guy. He's not like he's shorter than.
Oh, my dad was
just
tiny.
A tiny little guy.
My dad was tiny.
And just like scary though, like.
But he would tell me about stories about how he used to get in fights.
Yeah.
On the soccer field.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, okay, then I don't want to mess with this guy.
Yeah.
Because my dad's like, I don't fight fair.
Yeah. Yo, my mom.
You know, ball up the sand in the toes.
Yeah.
Fling it, boom, 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 boom. And then, like, because they lived on an island, my dad was like, yo, I just jump in the island and swim
around. Yeah. Jump in the water.
And you know, black people can't swim, right?
Yeah.
So a select few of them could swim, and that happened to be my dad.
Yeah. And
so
he was
every
gone.
fight, that's what he used to do.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, me and my boys, we used to lay down the beat.
Yeah.
And then, because back then there was a headmaster, so if the headmaster catches you, you're finished.
Yeah.
No, my man was gone in the water. And then stories about when it was really bad, he could tread water. So him and his boys are just like, okay, we're just gonna be out here for a little bit.
Yeah, just stay out there for a little while. Yeah,
and then come in when things are cool.
Yeah,
you know.
See, my mom was the one who shut everything down right away.
Right.
No matter what was going on, if I came in and I'm like, "Hey, mom, can I do this?" No, I want you to do this right now. But mom, I want it. It was just like it was quick. It was just, and it was just like lightning quick, bro. Like you were stunned.
Usain Bolt.
Yeah, sometimes you're just like, like you're.
What happened?
And you don't even know what the fuck happened. You're like, what the fuck? And then your bottom lip is bleeding a little bit. You're like,
yo, they hit you so hard, you get a concussion, but you don't even know from what.
And you see, like my fucking teeth are all crooked up down here, so any lash that came down on the bottom lip cut my lip.
Right.
So like it would be bang. And then it was she's like, "What did I ask you to do?" We were at my mom's house the other day. Me and Lawrence, who was here last week, by the way. Lowlands. And a couple other friends, and Noel's always there with me. And anytime, right. So they started asking, questions about how I was when I was young.
Right.
And she's like, "This boy was the devil boy. He used to do so much thing, and he's a real devil. You never see a boy getting so much shit." And like she started to go on and on and on.
Right.
So then she started telling the stories, and then so now my daughter's all interested. My daughter sometimes just gets disinterested in adult conversations. But now she's all interested.
Because it's you.
Yeah.
What you were doing.
And then she was like, "Oh yeah, like Daddy used to do that. Daddy used to do that." Yeah. And then sometimes I'm like, "Mom, finish the story. Tell them what used to happen when I used to do that."
Exactly.
Because now that she's all interested, I want her ass to hear how lucky she is
that
she don't get beat the fuck like I used to get beat, right?
Pot spoon, shoe,
yeah. And she used to be
belt.
like, I used to bust his lip anytime he said anything, And she said, if he went, that was talking back. If she told me something and I went,
yo,
bust lip one time.